She was running across campus, clutching her backpack, breath short, knowing she was already too late. The exam hall doors had just closed when the professor looked at her with zero sympathy and said, "You miss it, you fail it. Rules don't bend for anyone." She tried to explain, but he shut the door right in her face. She stood there, heart sinking, because she hadn't skipped the exam to sleep, party, or make excuses. She had missed it because an hour earlier, on the side of the highway, she had found a woman crying beside a broken SUV, and she couldn't walk past someone begging for help. That woman, dressed too fancy for the road she was on, kept whispering, "My husband, he's going to panic if he can't reach me. Please, I don't know what to do." So the student gave her a ride, helped fix her phone, even drove her halfway across town to the safest place she requested. By the time she made it back to campus, everything was over. She walked home that evening with her head down, replaying the professor's words. Fail. That one word felt heavier than her backpack. She didn't tell her parents, didn't text her friends, she just sat on her porch steps and stared at her shoes, wondering if doing the right thing had just destroyed her future. Then the ground started shaking. Not like an earthquake, more like a heavy machine approaching. She looked up, confused, until a huge shadow passed over her. A helicopter, black, sleek, expensive, was lowering right into her yard. She stumbled back, shielding her face from the dust. And through the open side door, she saw the same woman she had helped earlier, waving at her urgently. Behind her, a man in a suit leaned forward and shouted over the blades, "Miss, my wife told me what you did. We need to talk, now." The helicopter blades were still spinning when the woman jumped down and hurried toward her, holding her dress to keep it from whipping around. "You didn't tell me you were a student," she said over the noise. "You didn't tell me you missed something important because of me." The student tried to brush it off. "It's fine, I just did what anyone would have done." But the man in the suit stepped out next, tall, calm, and with the kind of presence that made neighbors peek through blinds. He walked right up to her and said, "No. Most people don't stop. Most people don't help." He looked at her porch, the chipped paint, the thin old screen door, the textbooks stacked on a crate. Then he looked at her, really looked, and something changed in his expression. "My security team found your professor," he said. "They told me what he said to you." Her eyes widened. "Wait, what? Why would they?" He raised a hand. "Because you saved my wife. And I don't let good people get punished for doing good." The woman touched the student's shoulder gently. "You should have told me you were late for an exam. I would have never let you leave without help." "But it's done," the student whispered. "If I fail this course, my scholarship." The man shook his head. "It's not done." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "I'm one of the main donors to your university. Every building you walk past, my name is on half of them." Her stomach flipped. "And tomorrow morning," he continued, "your professor will receive an email from the board. He will reopen that exam. Privately. With full credit." She blinked, stunned, unable to speak. But then he added something that made her breath stop completely. "And after that, you and I are flying somewhere. Today. Right now. Because my wife told me what you want to study, and I have something to show you." The student looked from the couple to the helicopter, confused and overwhelmed. "Show me what?" The man smiled, not the rich, distant kind of smile, but like he had been waiting to say these words. "Your future," he said. "The one you almost lost, until you saved my family." She hesitated at the edge of the yard, the helicopter's wind pushing her hair back, her mind racing. I can't just get on a helicopter," she said, almost shouting over the blades. "My mom's inside. She'll freak out." The billionaire nodded, completely understanding. "Go tell her. We'll wait." She rushed inside, heart pounding. Her mom was standing in the kitchen window, eyes wide. "Baby, why is there a helicopter in my yard?" The student swallowed hard. "Remember that woman I helped on the highway? That was his wife. He's some huge donor at the university. He says he wants to help me." Her mom blinked, processing it all. Then she stepped forward, held her daughter's face in her hands, and whispered, "If someone sees your kindness, and wants to lift you higher because of it, go. Don't let fear keep you small." That was all she needed. She ran back outside, and the billionaire offered his hand to help her into the helicopter. The moment she stepped inside, she felt like she had entered another world. Smooth leather seats, glowing screens, a quiet hum beneath her feet. As they lifted off, her house shrank below, the whole neighborhood turning into tiny blocks. She looked at them nervously. "Where are we going?" His wife smiled warmly. "To the place where my husband started everything." The billionaire nodded. "My first company. Before the money. Before the success. I want you to see it." She frowned. "Why me?" He leaned forward. "Because you remind me of who I was at your age. Someone who didn't have much, except a good heart and a determination to do what's right." The helicopter turned toward the coastline, and the lights of the city glittered beneath them. She pressed her forehead to the window, stunned by the view. "We're almost there," the man said. "And once we land, I'm going to offer you something that will change your life forever." She pulled back, eyes wide. "Offer me what?" He didn't answer. He just smiled, like the real twist hadn't even begun yet. When the helicopter touched down on a rooftop, she expected some shiny skyscraper or another billionaire-owned building. But when the doors slid open, she found herself staring at something completely different, an old brick warehouse by the water, quiet, worn, and nothing like the luxury she had imagined. "This is where it started?" she asked, stepping out onto the roof. The billionaire nodded, looking around with a strange mix of pride and nostalgia. "Every big story has a small beginning. Come on." They walked down a metal staircase into the building. Inside, everything was stripped down, bare walls, old desks, handwritten notes taped to boards. But the thing that caught her attention was a huge framed picture on the wall. The billionaire, young and broke, sitting at a tiny folding table surrounded by textbooks. She blinked. "You were a student too." He smiled. "A struggling one. I almost dropped out because I had to work 2 jobs. But someone helped me once, someone who didn't have to." He turned to her. "Just like you helped my wife." She swallowed hard, suddenly feeling the weight of his words. He led her to a small office in the back. A single folder sat on the desk. He placed it in front of her and said, "Open it." Her hands trembled as she did. Inside was a document with the university's seal. Her name, a number, and under it, bold letters, "Full scholarship, all years covered." She gasped. This can't be real." "It's very real," he said softly. "You won't owe a single dollar. Not for tuition, not for books, not for housing, not for anything." Her breath caught in her throat, eyes filling. "Sir, I don't know what to say." "Then don't say anything yet," he replied. "Because that's only the first part." She looked up, shocked. "First part." He walked around the desk, pulled out another envelope, black, heavy, with a gold seal. "This one," he said, placing it gently in front of her, "is the part that made your professor panic when my security team visited him." She stared at him, confused and anxious. "What's inside?" He leaned in, his voice lowering to a slow, deliberate whisper. "An invitation to the internship every top student in the country fights for. But I'm giving it to you." Her mouth fell open. "Why? I'm not even top of my class. I missed the exam." He cut her off gently. "Because grades tell me what you know. But your actions tell me who you are." His wife stepped closer, smiling warmly. "And who you are, is exactly the kind of person we want beside us." The student sat back, overwhelmed, tears burning at the corners of her eyes. And then he added one last line, quiet, powerful, unforgettable. "You didn't lose your future today," he said. "You rewrote it." She sat there staring at the envelopes like they were some dream she wasn't ready to touch. Her throat tightened, and she whispered, "I don't deserve all this." The billionaire shook his head firmly. "You deserve more than you know. But I'm not done showing you why." He walked to a dusty drawer in the corner, opened it, and pulled out a small silver key, old, worn, the edges scratched. He placed it in her palm. "This was the key to my first office. I kept it because it reminded me where I came from. I want you to have it." She looked at it, confused. "Why give it to me?" "Because I see the same fire in you that I had back then. And I'm going to make sure it never dies." Before she could respond, the warehouse door suddenly buzzed. Someone was trying to enter from outside. The billionaire exchanged a look with his wife, one of those silent looks that said, "It's time." He motioned for the student to follow him. When he opened the door, she froze. Her professor was standing there. red-faced, nervous, holding a stack of papers. "Sir," he stammered to the billionaire, I didn't realize the student you mentioned was her." The billionaire's eyes turned cold. "And you didn't care to ask?"